Are we on? Are we on? Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I am your host, Glenn Poole Harding. And oh boy, we have a very special guest. This basketball head is the #1 selling author on Amazon for a few weeks now with a book he titled Family Business, From the Carriage to the Court. This book explores the business side of basketball on the youth and AAU level that can help parents navigate through the madness of AAU, which is a multi-million-dollar industry that leads to a multi-billion-dollar industry in the NBA. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the show my guy with the #1 book on Amazon called Family Business, From the Carriage to the Court. Everybody welcome Tracy Jamison.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's going on? What's going on, my man?
Greetings. I appreciate you having me on the show. And that intro was amazing. Like I said, I truly appreciate that. The forum.
Nah, no doubt, man. Listen, you right up my alley, man. Like it incorporates everything basketball, right? And I think your book is a blessing, man, because it can give parents, coaches, and even people who are not familiar with the business of basketball on the youth side, understanding and a sneak peek in on the culture. Right. Which is becoming a culture. We won't say that's the basis, the foundation of the basketball culture, but business has been a part of it since the beginning. So
and it's just really becoming out of hand now because there's so many hands and so many pockets and it's just so many avenues to make money. Sneakers, clothing, NIL deals it's just limitless.
Would you say that corporations has taken over or hijacked youth basketball?
I think that happened a long time ago. I think it happened a long time ago when my kids were, my oldest son is 23 now. So when he was younger, the teams were being sponsored by, sneaker companies, clothing companies. But now with the NIL deals in college, I think it just exploded and it's just really, really out of control because now, it's not about just trying to get kids to college. It's just, what do they say now? Everybody's chasing the bag. Right. And, it takes a lot of discipline to stand your ground and stick to your roots and just want to get better and go to college for free. I mean, that was always the ultimate goal, but now you have kids 8th grade and 9th grade worrying about how much money they're going to get or how much gear they can get. And, these companies are honing in on that. And that's all they're worried about.
Have you heard about the #1 1 year old in the country. I
I
heard
can't say that I did.
I heard he's going to reclass. No,
that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
They bringing the age lower and lower, right, to get the kids saliva and for those #1 rankings. But let's get into what transformed you into this guy, right? Who introduced you to the game?
Bless the dead, sleep in peace, my father.
Yes, rest in peace.
He he played ball, and he was in the service. He played in the service. When I was growing up, he played in I grew up in the suburbs in South Jersey, and he played in the over 30 league. He played in the over 40 league, and I would always tag along. And
was that the Shore League?
No, further south.
Wow.
Like exit 5 on the turnpike.
Woo.
Right. So he would play in these little leagues, and I would always tag along and just, soak it all in. Just be in the gym, just being a gym rat. And, he would teach me certain things. And then when I got to high school, during the summertime, like, all right, listen, you got to go to the park. You got to run up the hill. You got to run around, and I had a half court in my backyard, so I'd have to put up shots. And I understood the grind. Like, I understood the grind early. And, I would go to different parks, get on my bike. My mother wouldn't see me until like mid-afternoon, come home for lunch, and then I go back out. And then, like I said, I grew up in the suburbs, but I had ties to New York, South Jamaica. So I would come up every weekend, or I would stay in New York for the whole summer, and I would go right down the block to Ajax Park in South Jamaica. And that's where
Ajax, hold on for a sec. Hold on, because salute, first tech of the night. Hey, listen, let's tell everybody about Ajax Park. Ajax Park is a legendary Queens park where you used to go down there, correct?
It still goes down, but I haven't been there so long. But the first time my father took me up there, I wasn't really really in tune. But then when I used to come up on the summer by myself, and then I would go with with the guys from the block and just get that work in, and the bug bit me, and I was in from there.
Was Ajax Park that place you can go to get the best run at that time?
At my age, like I'm 51, so like, yeah, I would say yeah for me, because I wasn't trying to travel all around Queens. I just went to where I knew, because it was right down the block, 116th Street, and then I would, walk right in the park and just get it in. Even if nobody was playing, I could just get a hoop by myself and just get, put up some shots, work on my handle, do what I had to do to, work on my game.
When did you realize basketball is something that you wanted to do? Like this was it for you. No other sport mattered.
I would say the 8th grade. No, I would say the 9th grade, because I played football, basketball, and baseball growing up. And
hold on. You received your second tech. Listen, the reason why I like to stop guys and girls who talk about they play more than one sport. Usually it's those guys who play multiple sports, football, basketball, and baseball. I think each sport kind of helped us out with the other sport because it was kind of year round. Right.
Mm-hmm.
At what age was you exploring all sports, and then what age was it when basketball kind of took over?
I would say I was playing baseball since I was like 5-6 years old, playing t-ball. And I was better in baseball than I was in basketball. But like I said, when I got to high school, my math teacher was the baseball coach. So I was like, you know what? We got along. And on top of that, he was the JV coach for basketball.
Right.
So he was all right as a math teacher, but I could see how he was over the line and super Bobby Knight-ish in coaching baseball. And I was like, you know what? Let me just stick to basketball. And that was it. Like, I played football my freshman year, but then after freshman year, I just concentrated on basketball. And that was it.
Facts. Bobby Knight, you ain't hear that name in a long time, right?
No, you can't. I can't get that throwing a chair across the court out of my memory.
Salute to my guy Ayatollah Beats for the check-in. Yeah, definitely, man. Who was that guy in the neighborhood that everyone was trying to be like? When you got the Queens, do you remember any guys from that neighborhood that were just like, you know what? Damn, if I could get to his level, I'm okay.
I can't really say that. I can just say my hero, in a sense, even though he wasn't from South Jamaica, he was from Left Rack. Everything I did with basketball was Chibs, Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson, my brother.
Like whenever we talk about basketball, it was just nothing else to talk about. Like Kenny was that guy. And I mean, I remember my father taking me to Left Rack and we saw him and I was like I don't get starstruck, but it was just something like, yo, you know what? I gotta put the part of my hair like Kenny. I gotta walk like Kenny. I gotta dribble like Kenny. Like Kenny was that guy. And you know, once you hear about point guards now, and it's like it was just one of those things. Everybody was a guard. You know, you got Pearl Washington, you got Rod Strickland, you got Mark Jackson. Like New York is that guard heavy. And then, you know, when I got older, I started seeing other guards like Marbury. You know, it's just crazy. You know, like I said, Kenny was that guy.
Yeah, I was just watching Ross Strickland on Backfield. Salute to everything that they do over Backfield. Mm-hmm. And my guy Rod, man, they asked him, like, who was that prototypical New York City point guard, right? And right off the top of his head, he had Steph there. And then they was like, you know, so what about Pearl? He was like, oh, yeah, Pearl. But then he said, y'all be reluctant or remiss if I didn't mention Kenny Anderson. Mm-hmm. So those three, you know, and had different errors, but they moved the needle forward so much.
Right. They raised the bar. And, you know, once you're in high school and you're starting to figure out your game, you know, being from New York, you take bits and pieces from everybody. You know, I took bits and pieces from Kenny, from Pearl, even though he's from not from New York, Sherman Douglas.
Sherman.
You just try to figure out your lane, and I try to emulate all the different guards.
When you got to high school and you transitioning from baseball and basketball, what year was it from baseball and football, what year was it that you made the team on a basketball JV or varsity level?
Well, it was my junior. Well, see, I had a coach. It's different than it is now where you get recruited to go to high school and then you're automatically thinking you're going to play varsity as a freshman. Not with my coach. My coach, if you wasn't 6 feet, you wasn't playing varsity. So I didn't really play varsity till like later in my junior year, senior year. Not saying that I wasn't ready. It's just that's just how the coach was.
Was your coach tall?
Not at all. Not at all. Not even close.
It's always those guys, right?
Yeah, it's always those guys. Like, you know, he was one. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. He was one of those guys.
Got you. We leave it right there. You know what I'm saying? Now you let's touch on this real quick, right? Because you know kids are getting recruited in elementary and junior high school. Mm-hmm. As early as elementary school, right. High school coaches, AAU coaches have their eyes on these kids. Mm-hmm. Do you think recruiting kids that young can be a problem?
Yeah, because if they're getting recruited, they might burn. Like, say they get to 10th, 11th grade and they, you know what, listen, I don't even want to play anymore. Because they're getting so much reward early, what do they have to look forward to? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're getting a lot of sneakers. Okay, if I give you another pair of sneakers, it doesn't mean anything. So now you got all these coaches coming to your game another coach, it doesn't really matter. It's like a burnout effect. To me, that's my opinion.
You know, it's so crazy, right? I didn't start paying for sneakers, well, after, you know, got on a team, of course, but from about 16 to about 35, right? And then, well, actually 25, where it started, where I went to the store and saw actually how much the sneakers cost, because I never had to go in the store and buy a pair of sneakers from that time. And I saw how much they cost. I couldn't believe it, right? I was fortunate enough to have my coach give me a lot of, you know, one thing I can say that he did, my high school and college coach, especially my high school coach, gave me a lot of game on the business side of basketball. And it was the moment of clarity when I found out that the sneakers actually only cost like $2 to make.
Right.
And then they would sell it to us for $250, $300.
Super markup.
It's crazy, and kids think they're getting over, right?
Of course.
You talk to a kid, my sneakers cost more than yours, and you think, in their mind, they think they're getting over, not knowing they're being played.
Exactly. No, that's a super fact.
So with them receiving, you know, gear, because I was watching a documentary on the Compton Magic.
Okay.
Damn. The name of the documentary doesn't hit me off the top of my head, but if you type in Compton Magic, it will come up.
Okay.
And the guy who's the CEO of the AAU club, he said, you know, that's how he get most of his kids. The gear. And of course you have to win. Right.
You gotta win.
If you don't win, you don't get a sneaker contract.
Right.
You don't get gear, you don't get to travel for free, right? So there's a lot, but it's a upper echelon of AAU programs that get to fly and travel for free, where everybody else, 99% of everybody else is paying.
Exactly. And I come from that era of having to pay. But, you know, it's checks and balances. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree that the high school kids, yo, listen, you're traveling, you're trying to get to college. You should not have, your parents should not have to worry about you paying for a hotel, you know, what you're going to eat, the sneakers. You shouldn't have to worry about that. It's enough getting out of the hood and going to play. You know, you should be compensated for that. But when it gets to a point where you're recruiting 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, now what are we doing? The lines are becoming blurry.
And they're crossing, right, in so many different ways. And can't forget that 1-year-old that kind of reclassed.
Right.
Ridiculous out here.
Right.
Ridiculous out here. So when did you say, like, you started to come into your own as a player and figure out you could go to college and play ball?
Well, you know, when you coming from New York, you always have that swag, like, yo, I'm nice. But then when you're playing against certain dudes, you're like, yo, maybe I'm not that good. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I think maybe in the 12th grade. No, you know what? Honestly, I was a freshman, and I'll never forget, we went to Camden and I played pretty well. And I'm like, yo, listen, there might be a future for me. Because as you know, Camden is Camden.
Legendary.
On any level. So we won. We had to be escorted out the building. We had to be escorted to the bus. And I think I really realized in the 9th grade that I could play at the college level.
Wow. Okay. All right. And what college did you go to when you met my guy Neil?
Jersey City State, which is called NJCU now.
Isn't that crazy? That division, what they Division 1 now?
3. No,
Division 3.
Mm-hmm.
Division 3. No, what was that other school out in Jersey that was Division 3 and then went to Division 1? It's not NJIC, right? NJIT? Or
NJIT.
NJIT, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, NJIT.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you able to navigate through that whole process? And who helped you?
You mean high school to college?
Yeah.
Well, nobody really, because the crazy part is when I got to college, I didn't play. Like, I played high school. I wasn't really recruited because the coach just wasn't pro small guards.
Right.
So I just, when I was getting ready to graduate, I was just like, all right, I'm just going to go to college, get out of school, and go work. So when I got to college, I started playing like open gym and intramurals, and I was killing. Then everybody was like, yo, you need to try out for the team. So I tried out for the team the second year. But when you get accustomed to playing like street ball or rec ball, it's hard to play within the system. So the legendary Coach Brown from Jersey City State just wasn't feeling my style of play. So I got cut. Didn't take it to heart because I don't know. Like I said, me and my wife been together for 30 years, and we met in the gym.
Wow.
So it allowed me to go and start filming her games because I was a media major. So using the camera kind of helped hand in hand. So it was a smooth transition. But I mean, at first I was hurt because I got cut. I never really got cut before, but it was a blessing in disguise.
How did college prepare you for the real world?
Well, like I said, I come from a TV background. So with the reason why I went to that school is because they had a great co-op program. And my last 3 semesters I did at one company. Oh, I worked at Channel 11. I worked in sports, cutting highlights during March Madness. And then the last 2 semesters I worked with USA. And when I graduated, I got the job like 2 weeks after I graduated. And I was there for 23 years. So it prepared me to understand, business is business. You don't want to be in college forever. Get in and get out and try to figure out what you're going to do as quick as you can because it could become a money pit.
So now you become a, grown man,
Mm-hmm.
you have kids, and now they want to venture into basketball.
Mm-hmm.
How is this different from the time when you were younger compared to having your children on your own?
Well, with my first one, I got 2 boys. With the first one, I just put the ball in his hand, I think, and it wasn't just me. I think my wife helped as well. Put the ball in his hand like while he was in the crib. And then it snowballed like that. And it got easier because when I was little, I didn't always have a ball. My son always had a ball dribbling around. And we kind of figured like, you know what, this is what he's going to do. So it was like an easier transition to putting him into basketball. And with my youngest son, it took a little bit longer because he was into everything. Like he was the kid that goes to the park and he brings a Frisbee,
right,
the skateboard, the football, the baseball, and the basketball. So you don't really know what's gonna, stick. But with the older one, it was kind of set as soon as he came. And like I said, it was an easier transition. And it just transitioning into a basketball parent, you just, because you love the sport so much, it doesn't seem like work. But you just have to learn to balance it with, schoolwork, your family, and all right, now you got to practice and work out.
No doubt. Salute to Dennis Addison on the check-in. Appreciate you. For anybody that's new in here, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like buttons, so we keep this thing moving. Like I told you off air, right? I had another author up here, Simone Joy, who wrote The Parent Section Outside the Locker Room, which explores similar paradigms of the game, right? What inspired you to write your book, Family Business, from the carriage to the court?
What's funny is I never thought that I would be an author or write a book. I think I was just super frustrated at work one day, and for whatever reason, I went and got a yellow notepad and started jotting down notes and just started filling them in. And on all the traveling that we did throughout the years, because like I said, my son started when he was like 7, 8. We were on airplanes going to nationals. And I just always, you meet so many people on the road. You meet so many people, within the society, the basketball society. I always knew there was a story, but I didn't really realize that it was going to be me that tells the story. Because when the book came out, I'm starting to meet different people and we're having different conversations, and they're telling me thank you, or they're telling me that it mirrors their story. And everybody has the same story, but it just took for me to write it. And I don't know, it was God's plan.
That's real. That's real. And for everybody out there, look, it's an easy read, 33 pages. You know what I mean? So I have the link in the chat so you guys can hit the link and go support this brother and cop that book. But we're about to dive deep into it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like this is I think something that parents, coaches, and people that's outside the game can really get a good glimpse of how this game works. Why call it family business?
Because, like I said, my father played, my wife played, I played, and both of my boys played. So, when you have a farm and everybody's pitching in, it's the family business. If you have like a laundry, a clothing, and everybody's working, that's the family business. Our family business just happened to be basketball because we all hooped. So I think it was, and the family business came later on. Like I had so many different titles for it, but just sitting around playing with the title, it just stuck and it fit.
Makes sense. Why is this book so important for parents and guardians and people who know, like we just said, who have no clue about the business of basketball? Because, it's similar to the music business, right? Because it's the music business. They don't say basketball business. They just give you just the basketball, not realizing that there's a business part to that.
Because not just because it's my book and I wrote it, it's my blood, sweat, and tears. It should be considered the blueprint, the Bible for any parent that's trying to figure it out. Because, like I said, it's our story, my family's journey, and trying to figure out the trials and tribulations. And it's not just our story. I'm coupling that with giving you jewels on how to navigate your journey and what to look for, the pitfalls, the highs, the lows, and I'm not just talking about the business in the book. I'm talking about training in the book. I'm talking about AAU. I'm talking about reclassification and wondering, should you do it or should you not do it? I touch on a lot of subjects in the book, and I think it should be gospel for any parent that's trying to figure it out.
At what age did the business of basketball kick in?
As soon as you get on the court. Like there is no age. Like you said, there's a 1-year-old that reclass. Listen, like I said, my son started playing at 6 years old. 7 years old, we were on a plane to Memphis. That's soon as you put that uniform on, soon as you sign that registration fee, that's where the business starts. As soon as you walk in the gym and figure out, you know what, I'm coming into this program, that's when the business starts. Whenever you're handing money over to somebody so you could play hoops, that's when the business starts. Whenever you start taking your kid to a trainer, that's when the business starts.
Wow.
So that I can't put an age on it. it doesn't. You can't put an age on it. Whenever you're ready to roll the ball out and have your kids start playing whatever sport, that's when the business starts.
Why is AAU important for student athletes recruitment? Like, what makes that like a must do for parents that they see like that's the only hope for kids to get recruited to college?
Because it puts them on a bigger stage. And if you're just playing in the hood, Rick Pitino's not coming to the hood to see you play.
But what about basketball games? High school basketball game. I seen Coach Cal.
It depends on the kid.
At Cardinal Hayes. Got you. Okay.
It depends on the kid, and it depends on the school. Because look, I went to Willingboro High School. I could look around. I'm not seeing any college coaches. Regardless of how nice I am, the coach is not coming to see you at Willingboro High School. However, if you played for PSA Cardinals or whoever, oh, yeah, I like this kid. Oh, what high school does he go to? So that's where it trickles down to where, okay, let's go watch him in high school. But they're not going to come see you unless they're following you on the AAU circuit.
It's so crazy. I was looking at article today that had the top 10 players in New York City high school right now.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 of those kids are from the Catholic school leagues, and only 1 is from the public school league.
I could believe that. I mean, growing up, it was kind of even out, but it's not that many. A lot of the talented kids that were in the public school are leaving the city and going to prep route,
or just transferring to Catholic schools, right? This year, I think we had the most transfers of any time. I think about 30 kids and like 15 top kids transferred from their schools. We talking about kids. Kids who were leading scorers at their school left for another school.
Yeah, I seen one kid that left Eagle Academy in Brooklyn, and he came to Jersey.
It's at the Patrick School. And the kid at Jefferson was at the Patrick School, left the Patrick School, and went back to Jeff.
It's like it's the high school portal.
That's exactly what I called it.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what I called it. Like I mentioned, Simone Joy, during the time her son played AAU, she spent upwards of $40,000, right, for that process, especially being a traveling parent. Could you estimate how much you spent during your time with your sons?
Listen, I can't estimate it, because when we were going to national tournaments, it would mirror our summer vacation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to nationals in Orlando, all right, well, all of us are going, and believe we're going to Disney, we're going to Epcot, we're going to the parks as well. Like, this is it. This is our summer vacation.
Right.
So it's not like we're just going on a business trip. We would extend our, trip, and we would enjoy ourselves afterwards. So 40,000, I would say that's about right in that ballpark. I mean, because you got to understand, when you're going on these trips, you're going for a week. So now you're paying for the hotel, you're paying for food, you're paying for tickets to get into the games. And then if you extend your vacation, you're going to these amusement parks. Listen, it's a lot.
Yeah, my guy Neil said he was traveling with his son Xavier, and he called me. He was like, "Yo, we done paid $30 for parking. Now I gotta pay $20 for a ticket."
Yep, been there. And then you gotta pay. They act like they're giving you a discount if you're paying for a weekend tournament. I've been here already. I gotta pay. And then you get inside, you watch a game. So you might play a game at 8:00. All right, now I'm hungry. So now I have breakfast. Now you got a 12 o'clock game. All right, that game is over. If you win both games, you might have another game that day. Now I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. So now you're eating 3 meals in a day and you're in the gym. So you're sitting there, you're going to eat popcorn, you're going to have a pretzel, you're going to have juice, you might have a hot dog. And it's not just me, it's the whole family. And you're paying for parking, and you're paying for this. You might see a shirt, you might see a bag, listen, it's a money pit. So you can't even estimate. I mean, 40 grand, it's a good ballpark figure, but you just don't know. It might be more. Because especially if you got a family of 4 or 5.
Yeah, when I was, again, I'm going back to that Compton Magic AU documentary, and I'm saying to myself, damn, let's talk about the kids who don't make these teams, right? Or the parent who kid doesn't make the team. And it's not all parents, but you have some parents be like, oh, well, I'll start my own AAU team.
Right.
There's so many AAU teams like that across the country. Or the dude who got fired from one or released from one AAU program and said, you know what, I'm going to start my own AAU program.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now it populates the AAU circuit with a whole bunch of just not saying mediocre kids, but kids who may never go and play college basketball. Right? But they're getting that experience. And also, parents have money to make sure to make it happen.
Right.
But also the people who are getting paid, right? These organizations, these gyms,
right?
These corporations who are getting paid off the blood, sweat, and tears of these kids.
Mm-hmm. Off the hope.
I know we joked about it before, about the 1 year of reclassing. What are your thoughts on reclassing? And has it got out of hand?
I don't want to say it's gotten out of hand. And like I cover in the book, it depends on your situation. Because, true story, my oldest son got skipped in like kindergarten or first grade. So he was always a year ahead. So when it became an issue, I think he was 12 or 13, we had to get a waiver from AAU for him to play down. Yeah, I think he was 12 or 13. So, talking to my guys, they were like, listen, if you're not going to reclass him, he's got to play his grade. So when we moved from New York to Jersey, I had to find a team that would allow him to play his grade. Played his grade, he did pretty well, and then we just kept pushing it along. But then when he got to 10th grade, the high school he was in and the coach he was with, the situation wasn't working, and he's in 10th grade and he's playing JV. And I'm not saying that he should have been started varsity, but he should have been getting some run. So then, like my son, let me backtrack. My son wanted to reclass in 8th grade before he went to high school, but we just, as a family, didn't really feel like he should. So he went to high school, but 2 years in high school he was in, it just wasn't working out. So what we did was we found a prep school for him, the Phelps School in Pennsylvania, and he reclassed and he did the 10th grade year over again. So I say all that to say, when he reclassed, it wasn't like we were trying to gain an advantage. It was putting him in his proper grade and where he was supposed to be. However, there's a flip side when, people are reclassing their kids just to gain an advantage, not for maturity, not for, for any other, situation other than just get over. I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like my thing is, it depends on the situation. And like somebody was talking on Twitter the other day about these kids reclassing up. Okay, but that's cool. But did they reclass already in the 8th grade backwards? So now they're reclassing up. Are they reclassing to the grade that they're supposed to be in? So what am I missing? Like they're reclassing down, they're killing. All right, you know what? Let me reclass up so I can go to college now. Well, you're supposed to be going to college now. So I'm confused. So reclassification is like a tricky subject, depending on your situation. It worked out for us.
Got you. Salute to Denisha Smith on the check-in. Say congratulations, bro. Yeah, that's dope. Man, listen, it's been a heavy topic here in New York City. My thing is, if you play high school ball at 15, 16 on the varsity level, why are you playing against 15 and 16-year-olds?
Right. Not
right. My thing is, if you playing against guys who are 17, 18, maybe already, what's
the difference?
You know what the difference is?
You should be on the 17 and under. Right. You should be on the 17 and under.
The more grades and the different age brackets, the more teams and the more money.
Right. Excellent point. So, it's all, at the end of the day, a lot of it just comes down to money and you navigating, trying to figure out, all right, am I going to pay this situation or I'm not going to pay this situation, or how am I going to handle it?
See, I'm a conspiracy theorist and I hate to say I'm a truth seeker, right? That conspiracy theory that was kind of made up after they whacked Kennedy, but we're not going to go there. But I think that NCAA created the transfer portal to create chaos because they had to pay the kids, or they're allowing kids to get paid with the NIL deals. Right now, think about this. Now.
Okay.
Who does the transfer portal hurt the most?
The colleges, the coaches. Because, all right, who do you think?
The high school kids.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, this is true. Because I've talked to numerous coaches and they're not recruiting any high school kids.
No, come on. Just imagine, like, if we had to face that. Mind you, so many other people didn't get to play college ball, but they threw this in the mix.
Forget it. Yeah, it's all JUCO or transfer kids that are going to college and playing, because you've got to be that guy to go from high school to college. Like, you've got to be really, really special, or you've got to have the machine behind you that's really pushing you, because very, very few high school kids are going straight to college and playing right away on a D1 level. But, we say, the dream is always D1, but, you should never sniff it, at D2 and D3, because there's hoopers on all three levels.
No, that's real. I'm actually just, skimming over the book. I just got it today. There's a section in here that talks about Trey Julian, aka 2.0.
That's my youngest son. So he like I said, he used to go to the park with a scooter, basketball, everything. He wasn't that basketball kid. Like, we weren't sure, I should say. He wasn't my child where I'm gonna, you know what, you're gonna go train, you're gonna work out, I'm gonna find a team for you. What he was, he would tag along to all the games. I would roll the ball out during timeouts or halftime, and he would go get it, dribble back, and you could see him starting to dribble, and it was fun. It was like halftime entertainment. So when he became like maybe 11 or 12, he would tag along with me, taking my oldest son, Juju, to workouts. So I'm like, all right, you know what? You get in the workout too. But he started picking up on it. And I'm like, okay, I think we got something here. Fast forward to 13, 14, put him on a team. Brooklyn Kings. I'm like, he's got something. Like, he's got something. But he was cerebral, whereas my oldest son grew up playing in all the parks in New York. where he just played off an instinct and everything came natural. Trey could see the game in a different light, and he thought the game, and it was just he was scary good. And when he got to high school, it was like, all right, we found the high school for him to play, and that's covered in the book. We had a false start, had to change schools, which I didn't. When you go to high school, you never pick a high school where you're thinking that you're going to transfer. And that was our thought, but we had to take him out of that because he lost the love of the game. And then when he transferred, he gained that back, and you could see the sparkle back in his eye. And Trey was nice. Trey is nice, I should say. And he plays like Andre Miller, Eric Snow, Maurice Cheeks, like very cerebral, nothing fancy, gets the job done. And he's special. He's special.
You got to take consideration that he got a chance to sit back and watch the older son do it first, right? Mm-hmm. He got to sit back and watch,
right,
soak it in,
right.
Whereas your first son had to get out there and kind of test the waters on the fly with nobody to kind of right model after, except knowing that you play ball, having a connection with you. So I think that makes even a better ball player. You look at Stephon Marbury and all the things he was able to accomplish.
Exactly.
Because all the brothers that came before him set that pace in that tone.
And the funny thing is, where we were talking about the 40,000 for AAU, when it was time for Trey to play, we made the conscious decision to say, you know what? It doesn't have to be a big program. If he wants to play, we'll find him a team and we'll figure it out. Because big programs aren't for every kid. If you want to hoop, you could, like you said, you could find a team. You could find a team that goes with your level and kind of gauge the seriousness or how much you love the game. So now as you progress and you get older and you get better, maybe you jump to another team. But you don't want to become a parent or a child that goes from team to team, because what are you teaching your child? You're going to be jumped when you're not happy, you're not getting run or whatever. Let's move. That's how you see the high school portal. You're seeing the college portal. Kids aren't happy. They're moving on. You shouldn't be teaching our kids that.
Yeah, I think it doesn't teach resiliency, right?
Right.
It doesn't teach resilience, and just sticking to something that, just finishing it out. But if it's not for you, it's not for you. So there's certain situations where kids got to leave to grow and expand their horizons. So I think that's definitely important.
And that's correct. But if you don't have a shot, like you're not giving the opportunity to grow, then we have to explore other opportunities, because it doesn't make sense for you to stay in a situation where, one, you're not happy, two, you're not growing, and the love of the game is being sucked away. So you know what? It's time to move on.
That's real. There's another part of the book where you talk about jealousy and envy.
Yes. Where it's like the crabs in a barrel syndrome. And I put it like this, like my son, people look at my kids and they're like, oh, well, he got this and he got that, but they don't realize the work they put in. They don't see, the blood, sweat, and tears. They just see the glitz and the glamour. So, I mean, we've been in a lot of situations where, we're teammates. If one shines, we all shine. However, you got crabs in a barrel where, listen, yeah, you're shining, but I want to shine more. Nobody wins in that. And there was a lot of that. And there is a lot of that, because everybody wants to, what do they say now? Everybody wants to count your money. And
get the bag, right? You
Right.
know, when you put anybody in a corporate type structure, that's when, you know, you got to cut the grass to see where the snakes are because they're there.
Right. And
everybody looking for an opportunity. Everybody looking for a jump start. Everybody looking for a heads up past the next person.
Right. And we encountered a lot of that. I mean, you know, we've seen a lot of that. I'll just leave it at that. It's just, you know, I'm a very humble guy. I keep to myself. But people tend to be jealous of certain situations that you're in and not understanding how you got in those situations, if that makes sense.
No, makes perfect sense. Make perfect sense. What does my name is my name mean?
All right. So what I started this book. That's the question you never asked me is how long did it take this process?
Oh, that was coming up.
All right. So this book took me 6.5, 7 years to write. Like my original goal was to finish the book when my oldest son was going to high school. So my name is my name is taken from the show The Wire. So
Yes.
I wanted that chapter to be the last chapter in the book, whereas, all right, we're riding off into the sunset. So if you read that chapter, every tournament, every event Juju played in, he killed. Absolutely killed. And I love talking about my kids, especially because I'm so proud of them and their accomplishments or what have you. But that summer of 8th grade going to 9th grade, I want to say it was like mythical, magical, however you want to say it. So when I came up with that title, when I was writing, the title fit like a glove. And like I said, when you read that chapter, you see every event that he played in. And it wasn't like mom and pop situations. It was Dykeman, Hoops in the Sun, Dean Street. It was all the top joints. And he cooked. And that's why I named it that.
Give me a moment where you saw your son cooking and you were just like, give me the tournament and how you was feeling at that moment as a dad, because you always talk about the father-son relationship and the love that you have seeing your sons play. But give me one moment where you were just like, oh, he is, because from a ball player to ball player, we know that moment.
Okay. I'll give you two. I'll give you one for each of them.
Got you.
With Juju, I mean, playing in New York, everybody knew him, so that's cool. But when he was 16, I think he was, we went to Vegas. And let me give you a little background. Juju is like Gary Payton, Marbury, and AI wrapped in one. So
hold on. That's a lot right there, fam.
If you see him,
and I probably just didn't know.
Right, you understand. So with the Gary Payton side of it, you understand. So we're in Vegas, and he's playing a team from Minnesota. And that moment that we're sitting on the last bench, it's me, my wife, my mother, blessed the dead, my father, and Trey. And he's giving these kids the business. And he got a tech because I think he mouthed off to the kid or he gave him the ball or whatever. And he looked at us like, he gave us that look. And when you're from New York and you give your family or your man that look like this is what it is, that's when I knew this kid is different. And then he had a great week out in Vegas. Now come to Trey. Trey's playing with the Brooklyn Kings, and they're playing at a tournament at his older brother's college. And when I say he was cooking, I mean, long ball, mid-range to the hoop, like he just was getting to it. And I would like that's one, like I wish I had video of that weekend. And it was just he had a special weekend that weekend. And he was cooking. Like that was it.
He had his chef hat on, he had his apron on, and serving customers.
Yeah, he was getting to it. He was Andre Miller in his bag, OD.
Why did you make Loyalty and Love the last chapter? Because you said you wanted the other one to be the last chapter, right? You want
right.
My Name Is My Name.
But let me give you some background. Like, I wanted that to be the last chapter because originally it was when he was going from 8th grade to 9th grade, but I had a block and I couldn't write anymore. I physically stopped writing for almost 3 years. Like I didn't look at it. I didn't write. I didn't even touch it. So, all right, now he's in high school. Still didn't touch it. He got to college. So I had to, a friend of mine wrote a book, and talking to him, helping him with his book, helped me finish my book. And Loyalty and Love it just wrapped everything up, the whole story. You have to be loyal to the game, and you have to love the game. And one thing Rod Strickland told me is that you don't have to be loyal to anybody but your kids. And when he told me that, it's like when you have children, you already know you gotta love them, you gotta be loyal to them. But when somebody tells you that, it gives you a different perspective. So I wrote that chapter when we were in Puerto Rico on the beach, and I had tears coming down my eyes because it wrapped the whole book up. And I knew with writing that chapter, I was finally done. And I accomplished something that took me 7 years to finish. So loyalty and love, like I said, like you got to be loyal to the game if you love it. And you got to love the game to be loyal to it.
Facts. So 33 pages, 7 years,
8,000 words.
Wow. 8,000, not 8,001, 8,000.
8,000, yeah.
Was that planned?
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. Like I told you off camera, when my friend's fiance uploaded it to Amazon, and she was like, all right, well, she sent me the file, and I'm looking at it, it's like 33 pages. I'll never forget, I'm at the barbershop. I'm stressed out. Like, yo, this is like a pamphlet. Like, what are we doing? Because I knew when my sister was typing it up, it was like 70 pages. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I hung up the conversation with my friend and his wife, and I got in a call with my wife, and she's like, what's wrong? And I told her, the book is only 33 pages, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, she thought about it for a second. She's like, well, that's not bad, because people will read it quicker and easier. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, I hear you. I'm not trying to hear you.
It's not deep enough for me.
Right. So then when my friend called me back and he was like, yo, I agree with her. I'm like, all right, so maybe that's two people telling me. And then when the editor read the book, she doesn't count the pages or whatever. She just makes sure you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And she said it all made sense. So I'm like, all right, so then maybe it's not too bad. And then when my friend gave me the science about the number 33, I'm like, you know what? We got something here. And then it's what it was.
and then the God number 7, and then
Exactly.
it all came out to 8,000 words, which is the infinite number 8, right? Man, this is crazy. So overall, right? Overall, we talk about, you know, the process and everything that took. What is the real message you're trying to convey after everything that we talked about?
The message that I'm trying to convey is take your time, try to figure out the long game. What do you want out of this? Like, are you just playing just for rec? Are you just playing because it's sexy? Are you playing to go to college? Are you playing for this to pay for something? Like, you got to understand, first and foremost, you got to know your child. And I think that's the number one thing that's wrong. You know what? I don't want to say wrong. I think that's an issue with a lot of parents. They don't have realistic goals, or they, at the end of the day, they don't know their child. So you can't say little Jimmy is nice and he can't even dribble with both hands. You have to have realistic views on your child. So then at the end of the day, if you know your child wants to play, you got to know what level he could play on. Once you know the level, then you can figure out where he needs to go. But as a family, you have to figure out, what are we doing this for? What are we trying, like, what's the end game? What are we trying to get out of all of this? Because if the end game is just to be the best kid in CYO, then we don't need to be paying a program $800 for uniforms and going to travel every weekend, because he could be the best kid on the CYO team just walking outside. That's just my opinion. However, if this is what you're going to dedicate the next 5 to 6 years to, now we got to come up with a plan. We got to formulate a plan. See, I didn't have a plan the first child. We're out here winging it. And bless my wife, she let me kind of figure it out on my own. And my son was everywhere. He was in every camp. He was just everywhere. But I didn't want to do that with the second one, because you don't know where it's going to go. And you don't know, I kind of figured out, like, I don't know if he wants to play this, intense, because with the first one, it was super intense. We were everywhere, every tournament. He had a coach that was like, listen, now we playing. All right, let's go. We didn't know any better, but we didn't formulate a plan. The second one, we formulated a plan. We figured it out. And that's the goal with the book. Formulate a plan. So if you formulate a plan at the beginning, you know your child's talent. All right, now I'm giving you the blueprint on how to handle the whole journey.
Again, it's the #1 bestseller, Family Business, from the carriage to the court. See it it's in the chat. It's up on the screen. Make sure you support this book. Before we get out of here, what is one thing about your basketball journey you would like to, if you would change, right? What's one thing about your basketball journey you would change, and why? Excuse me.
My journey or the kids' journey?
Let's talk about the kids' journey, because that's why you wrote the book. Yes.
Okay. You know what? I don't think I would change anything. There's a lot of kids that are in the league, either in the league or at high Division I colleges, hooping, that my son played with. And to get to where they are, it took them maybe 2 or 3 high schools, 2 or 3 colleges, and they finally figured it out. My son went to one college for 5 years, and now he graduated and he's getting his master's, and he's a grad assistant, and he's going to school for free. So it's like the career he had at college, a lot of those kids wish they would have had. So to sit here and say, would I change anything? No, I wouldn't change it.
And also, what you got wrong, the first process, you got to right in the second process, right?
Exactly. A lot of the stress that I went through with the first one, I didn't endure. There were different stresses, I should say, with the second one. But at the end of the day, it all worked itself out. And, you know, my kids I got great kids, and I just want them to be happy. And that at the end of the day, if they never pick up a ball again in life, as long as they're happy, that's all that matters to me.
That's real, man. Well, listen, I would like to appreciate you, first of all, for making the time to come on. I'd like to thank my guy Neil Barrow for setting this up. Definitely gonna keep promoting this book. Make sure we keep getting it out there. Put them up on my page right after we finish, and then pull out the clips later on. Thank you, man. Wish you all success.
Thank you.
And look, let's help keep that book at #1. All right, let's help keep that book at #1.
I appreciate it.
No doubt. Appreciate you, King.
All right, talk soon.
No doubt.
Bye.
Man, you have to understand the business of basketball. It's exactly what it is. It's the business of basketball. So it was only right that he named it the family business, from the carriage to the court. Because when you're a dad, you have kids. It could be a boy or girl. In this case, he had 2 boys. I know he saw himself in his kids. I know he wanted to give his kids the best opportunity to succeed. And whatever didn't work right with the first child, because he's the experimental child, so salute to the first child on that one, because, they had to figure it out. And then once the second child came along, he was able to navigate it a little bit better. Salute to his wife for just giving him the room to kind of figure it out. And then they put the next plan together. It's very, very serious out here. I think all parents, guardians, even some coaches who don't know. You may be that science teacher who's coaching basketball and have no clue what's going on. You can get the family business and it kind of explain the business side of basketball and what to expect. So with saying that, we're about to get out of here. I'd like to thank my guest tonight, Tracy, Jamison. Great conversation. Awesome book. Again, it's called Family Business. The link is in the chat. For those who just watching the show, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. Well, as always, I'm about to be out of here. I am your host, Glenn Poole Harding. And you've been watching Basketball Heads Live, the podcast on NYC Basketball Network, because we are the official home for New York City basketball. Peace.